Most men spend years perfecting their appearance, sharpening their humor, carefully crafting the perfect text, and still watch women lose interest without understanding why. The answer has nothing to do with any of that. Two ordinary words, used at the right moment, create an emotional reaction in women that most men accidentally avoid their entire lives. And once you understand exactly why they work, every conversation you have will never feel the same again. By the way, if you really want to understand female psychology and discover the factors that make a woman feel attracted to you, I've created a comprehensive ebook where I explain everything step by step. You can find the link in the video description. Every man who has ever tried too hard to impress a woman has made the same fundamental mistake. And most of them never figure out what it actually was. The mistake is not saying the wrong thing. The mistake is spending every conversation focused on earning approval instead of expressing truth. When a man operates from that place, something invisible happens. He starts editing himself in real time. He softens opinions that might create friction. He laughs at things he finds mildly amusing because the reaction feels safer than silence. He becomes a version of himself specifically designed to generate acceptance. And women feel that inauthenticity immediately, even when they cannot put it into words. Here is what changes everything. A man who wants to be understood stops managing reactions and starts communicating honestly. He says what he actually means. He expresses what he genuinely thinks. He stops treating every conversation like an audition and starts treating it like a real human exchange. That shift creates something surprisingly powerful: emotional safety. When a woman realizes she's talking to someone whose words actually reflect his reality, she relaxes. The guessing stops. The tension dissolves. She no longer has to decode what he means or wonder whether his interest is genuine. And here is the part most men completely miss. A woman cannot connect with a filtered version of you. She can only connect with what you actually show her. The more honest you become, the more real the connection gets. Approval fades. Understanding lasts. Most men are unknowingly sabotaging their own attraction before the conversation even gets interesting. Not through bad looks, not through poor style, through one invisible habit that poisons every interaction, speaking in ways that communicate absolutely nothing. Maybe we could hang out sometime. We should probably get together if you're free. Sentences like these feel safe, but emotionally they land like a wet blanket. They signal hesitation. They signal a man who hasn't fully decided whether he even wants what he's asking for. Women feel that uncertainty immediately, and uncertain energy is simply not attractive. Now consider the alternative. I want to take you to dinner Saturday. There's a place I think you genuinely love. Same intention, completely different emotional impact. That difference comes entirely from ownership. One man is quietly hoping she figures out what he means. The other already knows what he wants and isn't embarrassed to say it. Here's what most men completely miss. Vague language doesn't protect you from rejection. It just makes you forgettable. Clarity, on the other hand, creates something surprisingly rare in modern dating. It creates relief. Women spend enormous energy decoding mixed signals from men who won't simply say what they mean. When someone finally speaks directly, it stands out immediately. I want communicates direction. It communicates self-awareness. It communicates a man who lives inside his own decisions rather than waiting for permission to have them. That quality alone separates men women remember from men women forget by morning. Think about the last time someone said something that actually stayed with you. Not a polite compliment, not a rehearsed observation. Something that made you feel genuinely seen. Chances are it was specific, it was real, and it came from someone who had actually been paying attention. Most men hand out compliments the way stores hand out receipts. Automatically, predictably, and forgotten within seconds. You look beautiful. You're so funny. These words aren't wrong, but they land like background noise. Because any man talking to any woman could say the exact same thing. What creates a real emotional impact is specificity. When you tell a woman, I appreciate the way your mind works, you see angles in a conversation that most people completely miss. Something shifts. She cannot file that away as routine. It reached her because it was meant for her, nobody else. There is a reason this works so deeply. Most women move through life feeling observed but rarely understood. People notice how they look. Very few notice who they actually are. When a man recognizes something beneath the surface, a quality she privately values in herself, it creates a feeling that is genuinely difficult to forget. This is the difference between praise and appreciation. Praise evaluates performance. Appreciation recognizes identity. One makes her feel admired for a moment, the other makes her feel known. And that feeling follows her home long after the conversation ends. Pay closer attention. What you notice about her will matter far more than anything you invent to impress her. If you find this topic interesting, you should know that in my ebook, I explain the 10 most important factors of female psychology that make a woman become more interested in a man. If you want to learn them all, you can find the ebook at the link in the description. Most men walk into a conversation already somewhere else mentally, calculating, rehearsing, wondering how they're coming across. She can feel that, not because she's analyzing you, but because distraction has a texture that people sense before they can explain it. When a man is fully present, something shifts immediately. He's not performing, he's not managing outcomes, he's simply there, listening to what she actually says, noticing what she actually means, responding to the real moment instead of the one he rehearsed in his head. That quality is rarer than most people realize. Think about your own life. How often does someone give you their complete, undivided attention? No glancing at phones, no mentally drafting the next sentence while you're still talking. When it happens, you remember it. You remember them. Women operate the same way. A man who is genuinely engaged doesn't just hold her attention. He creates an experience she keeps returning to mentally, long after the conversation ends. Here's what most men completely miss. Presence isn't about saying less or doing more. It's about the energy behind your words matching the words themselves. When those two things align, women stop evaluating what you're saying and start feeling it. Confidence isn't measured by how much you feel the silence. It's measured by how comfortable you are after you've said something real. Sitting calmly in the moment without immediately rushing to soften it or explain it away. That stillness communicates more than any carefully chosen sentence ever could. Every strategy eventually expires. A clever line works once. A carefully planned approach has a shelf life. But the man who simply says what he means every single time without editing himself for approval, that man becomes impossible to forget. Women talk about this constantly, yet most men never hear it. They don't remember the guy who had the best opening line. They remember the guy who never made them feel confused about where they stood. Think about that for a moment. In a dating culture absolutely flooded with mixed signals, the man who communicates with zero hidden agenda feels almost shockingly refreshing. She stops waiting for the other shoe to drop. She stops analyzing your text at midnight trying to decode what you actually meant. That mental relief alone creates an attraction that no technique ever could. Honesty doesn't mean oversharing everything immediately. It means your words and your intentions are always moving in the same direction. When you say you want to see her again, you follow through. When you appreciate something about her, it's specific and real, not recycled from a list somewhere. Over time, she starts noticing something she rarely experiences. Being around you feels easy, not boring, easy. There's a difference most people miss entirely. That consistency quietly rewires how she thinks about you. You stop being someone she enjoyed talking to and start becoming someone she genuinely looks forward to. That shift doesn't happen through strategy, it happens through character. And character, unlike strategy, never runs out. 2 words, zero manipulation. Just a man who knows what he wants, sees a woman for who she actually is, and shows up the same way every single time. That combination doesn't just create attraction, it creates the kind of emotional memory that stays with a woman long after the conversation ends. Most men are still out there searching for the perfect strategy. You now understand something far more powerful than that. Drop a comment below telling me the next topic you want me to break down, because this conversation is just getting started. If you want to learn all the secrets of female psychology and truly understand what makes a woman feel attracted to you, you can get my complete ebook at the link in the description. There, I explain everything with clear and practical examples.